Listening test instructions. The listening test is about 50 minutes. There are 6 parts in listening test. You will have about 6 minutes to listen to each passage and answer the questions. The passage will be played once.
The doctor's office is just a short bus ride from here, but if you want my opinion, you should just walk.
Question 1. Why the speaker took 2 pauses while speaking?
You will hear a conversation in 3 sections. You will hear each section only once. After each section, you will hear 2 or 3 questions. You will hear the questions only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
I just read this article about what life will be like in the future. You know, all the technology we'll have and everything.
Yeah, I read that too. Something about computers?
There'll be computerized refrigerators. They call them smart refrigerators, and they'll order food from the store for you.
I don't know about that. They might only order healthy stuff.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I hate grocery shopping.
Huh.
Question 1. What are the speakers discussing? Question 2. What will smart refrigerator do? Question 3. Why does the man like smart refrigerator?
You will hear the second section of the conversation shortly.
Well, how about video phones? I bet you'd like one of those.
Actually, yeah. My friend has one. He says it's really good.
Yeah? It says here that in the future we'll all have video phones and work from home.
Yeah, I bet. Maybe we should get one. It's much easier to talk to someone when you can see their face.
Yeah, but I don't want people to see me with no makeup on. I think I'd prefer a regular phone.
But they're a good idea for meetings at work, so you don't have to go to the office.
But that's even worse. Your boss might call when you're still in your pajamas.
Yeah, but working from home is still better. I hate driving to work every day.
Question 4. What advantages could video phones have? Question 5. Why does the woman not like using a video phone from home? Question 6. Why does the man think that working from home would be great?
You will hear the third section of the conversation shortly.
Well, you're in luck. It says in 30 years or so, we'll have self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah, the car will drive itself. I heard about that. That's cool. I definitely want one of those. I'll be able to watch TV in the car.
Oh, no. You watch enough TV. Anyway, I like driving.
Yeah, but the roads will be safer. There won't be so many accidents.
Are you talking about my driving?
No.
Question 7. What is expected for future cars? Question 8. How does the woman think the man feels about her driving?
You will hear a conversation followed by 5 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
I will have to give a presentation on global warming on Friday, and I am so nervous.
There are a lot of things you can do to make you feel more confident and less nervous.
What should I do, Mary?
First of all, you need to understand the subject matter thoroughly. You need to know what is global warming, its causes, and what people should do to abate its effects.
I have done a lot of research on the subject, and I know I can answer any questions I will receive from the audience.
The next thing that you need is an outline of your presentation, how to effectively present the subject matter.
The sequence of my presentation?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, what else?
By the way, do you have any facts or pictures to back you up?
Not yet, but I will get them from the internet.
Good.
Is there anything else I can do to help me relax and be at ease during my presentation?
You need to practice your presentation. Think positive. Tell yourself that you can do it without any problems.
I guess I can look at this as a presentation of my point of view to my friends, plus all the relatives that I have on both my mother and father's sides.
If you are really prepared, it will be a cakewalk.
You are absolutely right. Wish me luck, Mary.
This is only the beginning, James.
Question 1. What is James nervous about? Question 2. How can James hold the audience interest in his speech? Question 3. What advice does Mary give to James to calm himself during presentation? Question 4. What is James' confidence about? Question 5. Why does Mary ask James to think positive?
You will hear a conversation followed by 6 questions. Listen to each question. You will hear the question only once. Choose the best answer to each question.
Gabriella, hi, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, I have to confess, today's topic is something I am really bad at: listening. Most people say speaking is the most stressful part of learning a new language, but for me, with my B1 German, speaking isn't so bad. At least I'm in control of it, but listening, whoa. People speak so fast, and it's like my brain just shuts down. Am I just really strange and bad at listening? Tell me honestly, I can take it.
No, you're not strange. In fact, it's really common. You know, in exams, most people do pretty well in speaking compared with listening. Of course, exams are a different situation from real life because in an exam, you can't ask for something to be repeated or explained. You usually have just 1 or maybe 2 opportunities to listen to the dialogue, and then it's gone.
Right, but in real life, I feel stupid always saying, "Sorry, can you repeat that, please?" Especially if I still don't understand, even when they repeat it. And people out there listening, I hope you don't do this. Quite often, the person just repeats what they say equally as fast, and I'm still lost.
They do, don't they? In real life, you've got 2 strategies. One is to pretend to understand and get out of the conversation as fast as you can.
Yep, sounds familiar.
But obviously, that's not going to help if it's a conversation with high stakes. It might have important consequences. I mean, if you're just chatting with a stranger at the bus stop, it doesn't matter. But imagine you're at a government office or a bank trying to find out what paperwork you need to get your ID or open a bank account. What can you do then?
I hope you got the answer, Gabriella, because I'm coming out in a cold sweat just thinking about either of those situations.
The other strategy is to summarize what they said.
But how can you do that if you didn't understand what they said?
Well, you only start the summary. So you might say, in German in your case, okay, so the first thing I have to do is, and make it a question. Or, for example, and which office is that again? Break it down into smaller questions and the other person will naturally start answering them. That way, you're controlling the conversation a bit more.
I get you.
Question 1. Why does the man finds listening is the most difficult? Question 2. According to the woman, why real-life listening is different from an exam? Question 3. Why pretending to understand is not helpful always? Question 4. What strategy did Gabriella suggest? Question 5. What tip did Gabriella give to the man? Question 6. How did the man feel in the end?
You will hear a news item once. It is about 1.5 minutes long. Then 5 questions will appear. Choose the best way to complete each statement from the drop-down menu.
Two Canadian women have been kidnapped in Ghana by unidentified gunmen in the country's second-largest city, Kumasi. The two students, aged 19 and 20, have been working as volunteers for a charity. They have not been named. They were seized on Tuesday evening outside their apartment in the Ahodwo district and bundled into a car, police said. Kidnappings in Ghana have been extremely rare until recently, correspondents say. However, there have been several over the past few months, usually involving ransom demands. Police say the two women are volunteers with Youth Challenge International, a Toronto-based international development organization. Security agencies are working closely together to get them rescued and the perpetrators arrested, said David Eklu, Assistant Commissioner of Police. Global Affairs Canada confirmed the abductions and said Canadian officials were working with authorities in Ghana and were in touch with the families of the two women. Ghana's president, Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has vowed to take a tougher line on kidnappers after a spate of abductions in the country. In April, an Indian man was seized in Kumasi by an armed gang demanding a ransom. He was later rescued in a police raid. An Estonian diplomat was also kidnapped in April in the capital Accra and again rescued in a police raid, GhanaWeb reported. Meanwhile, police are still searching for 3 women kidnapped in December in the southern city of Takoradi. 2 Canadians were kidnapped earlier this year in the West African state of Burkina Faso, One was later found dead, and the other, a woman, is still missing.
You will listen to a 2 minutes video. Then 8 questions appear. Choose the best way to answer each question.
You will watch a discussion between 3 people. This is Jason. This is Heather. This is Rayleigh.
Another caffeinated beverage now. A new health review finds 400 milligrams of caffeine a day isn't going to hurt you. So here's the math. That is 2 medium coffees, 8 cans of Coke, 40 cups of hot chocolate, which if you're doing that, we're going to have a larger conversation.
Correct, yes.
The average person takes in less than 300 milligrams, but probably doesn't know exactly how much you're taking in. So we want to figure out, Heather, just how much caffeine is in our drinks.
So, I mean, I should ask you guys. You guys are up at these crazy, ridiculous hours in the middle of the night.
We are.
I mean,
it's a privilege, Heather. It's a privilege. I don't need caffeine. I'm just naturally high on the thrill of providing stories to you people every day.
I need caffeine.
You do, yeah.
I do. So when I started doing morning TV, I used to make cappuccinos at home, very fancy. But I found out that
you weren't getting your
milk
hits.
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But I found out that drip coffee actually has more caffeine than espresso drinks.
Right.
That surprised me.
We also found out that even though Jason doesn't need caffeine, he probably hits his upper limit each day.
More coffee than I do.
I drink a fair amount. I like the taste of coffee, and I've gone as an experiment without coffee for a couple of weeks to see if there's any effect. And Nothing.
Yeah.
But you like it, the ritual.
I like
the
it.
flavor.
I like the routine, yes.
So what kind of surprised me in this one is what we did was we went to Hamlin and we had the students at Hamlin put in order the list. So we had energy drinks, we had sodas, we had teas, we had coffees.
So it's
and
very
they put it in
clever, very
order and nobody got it right. And I didn't expect anybody to get it right.
So the thing with the most caffeine is?
Of our selection of 9 drinks, it was a 5-hour energy.
5-hour energy has about how many milligrams?
It 200 milligrams. So
Okay.
2
Half
5-hour
of your
energies
daily
a day.
allowance,
Right.
okay.
But what was interesting to me is just a 12-ounce coffee that we had gotten from Starbucks, just the regular dark roast of that day, was almost the same amount of caffeine as that 5-hour energy.
It's about 180 or something?
Right. And that 12-ounce, that's the small.
Right, exactly.
At Starbucks.
Interesting. Now, coffee varies. It's hard to just say, like, coffee has X.
Yes.
Like, it varies from bean to bean,
does.
from roast to roast.
And I didn't know this, but light roast has more caffeine than dark roast.
Right, because I think people think, oh, if this
Right.
tastes more bitter,
Mhm.
there's going to be more caffeine,
Right.
more punch.
Rough rule, about 100 milligrams for 8 ounces.
About, yes.
It's up and down,
yes.
but...
So but what's important to
So
know is
2
it's-
mugs.
Yeah. So what's important is it's going to be more than tea. It's going to be more than soda.
That surprised a lot of
right.
people, I think, that the
Mhm.
coffee was, because people think of, oh, I need this jolt of Mountain Dew.
Right. and Mountain Dew,
There's
I
sugar
thought
in that too,
right.
right?
I thought Mountain Dew, and the sugar does make a difference. I thought
Interesting,
Mountain Dew
yeah.
was going to be a lot more. If Mountain Dew was the most of the sodas that we had, but it
But it
wasn't.
still was only-
It wasn't. It was 45 milligrams for just a
For a
can.
12-ounce can.
Right.
But if you're drinking Dew, you're doing a 20, or you're doing like the big gulp,
Right.
like 64,
Yeah.
going to Holiday, getting that thing.
That's not a thing.
That's the only way you can do the Dew.
Right.
What about black tea? I think
So
people
black-
drink
right.
that like with lemon. It's soothing. It's
It
relaxing.
sure is, and I drink tons of black tea all
Yeah.
the time, and that was almost. Some of those black teas are almost as much as 1 can of Red Bull.
Yeah,
Interesting.
So don't
go-
do it before bed.
No, go to the green tea.
Go to
that,
green
That
tea.
has some, but not as much.
Bottom line is 400, you're okay, so don't worry about it.
Don't test it.
Everybody's
though.
fine.
Don't test it. I don't know what happens.
I'm gonna
Matt
test
could
it.
maybe test it.
Test it
You know,
today.
I think it'd be
See
fine.
what happens. All right. Well,
His voice goes way up there.
It
We're
usually
too
lives
much
there.
caffeine.
Yeah, it's usually there.
You will hear a report once. It is about 3 minutes long. Then 6 questions will appear. Choose the best way to answer each question from the drop-down menu.
Canadians grabbing dinner at McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and other fast food joints are eating substantially higher levels of salt compared to the same fat-laden foods in other countries, new global research suggests. An international team of scientists from as far as Australia, New Zealand, France, the United Kingdom, and the United States collaborated with Canada in a global study analyzing the salt content of more than 2,100 fast food items on the menus of 6 major companies. The items included breakfast, burgers, chicken products, pizza, sandwiches, French fries, and even salads. While fast food isn't the most nutritious choice, the researchers say the meals in Canada and the United States contained much higher levels of sodium compared to the same food in the UK and France. Chicken nuggets, for example, contain 2.5 times the amount of sodium, 600 milligrams per 100 gram servings, compared to only 240 milligrams per 100 gram servings in the UK. Salads and fast food joints in Canada by far provided the highest salt content. What we really found was that several of the fast food items in Canada have the highest, if not closest to the highest, or very close to the highest amount of salt in their foods, according to Dr. Norman Campbell. Campbell says Canadians should call on Ottawa to regulate salt. In other countries, including the UK, Finland, and Japan, salt reduction efforts have forced companies to label ingredients in food. Health is not a food company responsibility. It's one of the mandates we gave our federal government. Our federal government has advocated this responsibility for health and the safety of the food source back to the food industry, and that's clearly inappropriate, not going to work, Campbell said. The report insists that widespread reformulation of products to decrease salt can be introduced over several years. Health Canada has chaired the Sodium Working Group, which has released guidelines on how much salt Canadians should be consuming, but its full recommendations haven't been implemented.